Rutherford County Public Safety Committee meeting. And we had Commissioner Gorley today went in and had a biopsy done, and I'd like to ask Commissioner Turner if he could say a prayer for him, if we could all keep him in our prayers.
Certainly. Heavenly Father, thank you for today, and thank you for the opportunity each one of us has been afforded. We lift up Commissioner Gorley and his family to you right now. Ask that you be with the doctors and the individuals in the medical community who are going to be examining the results and discovering if there's any treatment that might be necessary. Just ask that you be with his family and that you hold them close and you give them a sense of peace throughout this entire process. We give you the praise. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. And as we begin, I'll take a motion on the minutes from the last meeting.
Mr. Chairman, I've read over those minutes, and I'd like to make a motion that we approve them as presented.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I didn't know you guys were allowed to come first. I don't remember this well. Correct, Senator?
That is, unless you want to go, Mike. I would love to. That's a joke. Afternoon. So the first thing that we have is our meetings from our October 2nd meeting, minutes from that. And Commissioner Schaefer, I believe that under D, expenditure report, that'll answer that question that you had last month about Dr. Rhodes' charges.
Okay.
And that'll just basically come out of $399, which we, other contracted services that we, from this one.
Thank you.
You're welcome. The yearly activity report, that's for our work, the work release one. We've got 30 inmates currently participating in that work release program, and then 12 in that therapeutic community that we've talked about in the past with the Doors of Hope. The next one would be our yearly activity report. Our population staying around the same, easing up a little bit there, 169 total, 132 males, 37 females today. The monthly worker report, no significant changes in that. And then we don't have any budget amendments.
Any questions? Superintendent Cope?
Mr. Cope, that one open position, how long has that been open that there was in the minutes? I was just curious.
Jason, what's that? About
It was only
a couple weeks,
Oh, okay.
something like
Just was
that.
curious how long it's been open. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any further questions? We'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve the report as presented, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
A motion is second. Further question? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Record time. Sheriff's Office.
Office recovery.
We want to keep you on your toes.
You're doing a good
Don't get too
job.
You want to do the budget amendment first?
Yes, sir. This is going to be our special purpose DEA account. I'd like to decrease it by $55,000, adding $30,000 to the 319 confidential and $25,000 to the 799, which is capital outlay for that building we just purchased. We're ready to start doing the fence for that.
This will cover.
We're using the county bid fencing company.
Further questions about the budget amendment? If not, we'll entertain a motion.
I move that we approve this budget amendment. Second.
Just a second. Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Nipper,
Yes.
Commissioner Piercy,
Yes.
Commissioner Reed,
Yes.
Commissioner Sereno,
Yes.
Commissioner Turner,
Yes.
Commissioner Schaefer.
Yes. Anything anything special on the jail or the sheriff office?
Not to me, but it might be to you.
That's a good answer.
Okay. Maybe we ought to take a quick look at those percentages. They're still floating around. The horses, how much work have they received this fall? Do you use them? MTSU? Yeah. MTSU football games, you use them there too?
Yes, they were used at homecoming game because of the wide dispersal of people throughout.
And is MTSU getting a little better attendance this year?
Last week's attendance was down. So homecoming was good, but after that, last week was not as well.
Okay.
So,
Now we lost the starting quarterback too.
That's true.
That hurt.
That's true.
I can say I've seen them at work over there. You go to the gates where the mounted patrol is not. It's a mixed match of individuals trying to go in. It's a little bit of confusion. But you go around where they work primarily is the student gate. And everybody's in line because they have to go through these horses that are there. And it's right impressive to see that at work. And I've also seen them out in the parking lots. And the sheriff saw this. I showed him the picture that I made of how they brought that horse up to a young lady who was in a wheelchair. And it amazed me how that large of a horse knelt down for that child to pet it. That just amazed me how they had taught that big old horse to do that for
Made
that
the whole
child.
day worth it, didn't it?
Yeah, it was just something to see. And I saw them at Uncle Dave Macon days, and I don't know if they're arresting anybody or whatever, but it sure is a branding goal for the sheriff's department. A lot of people appreciate them there.
Where are they stabled at now?
They're out behind Roselawn Cemetery. At I can't think of the name, Journey Pure, and which is providing the stabling and everything for free. So it's not costing the county anything as far as stabling the horses. The hay and everything, as y'all might have seen recently, has all been donated. So that's donated to us every year. So as far as the purpose of them and then what the county can get out of it versus what it's costing us is a very small amount of money compared to what we get. And I think as far as control of crowds or things of this nature, one horse is the equivalent of 11 officers. So just by the mere presence, you have an orderly crowd. And I think as the commissioner had indicated, and it's cool. That's one of the purposes of them, to be able to use them in those types of situations.
What do we have 7 do we use?
We've got 5 that we use, 1 in reserve. So we've got 6, but we keep 1 in reserve in case one of them is injured or anything of that nature.
Are you going to use them this weekend?
Yes, sir. They'll be out in full force.
Well, if one of those horses step on your foot, you're gonna know it.
It'll make a believer out of it.
Okay.
We try to avoid that, though. So.
Keep order. All right. Any further questions? If not, we'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve the report?
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Good.
Good evening.
Evening.
I'd like to report in the month of September, we had a total of 22 injuries requiring medical attention. That brings the total for the year-to-date to 160. As far as OSHA recordables, there's a total of 93. 39 were restricted days, 21 with lost time days and 33 all others. As that compares to the previous year, you'll notice we're still up slightly this year from where we were last year as far as the number of claims. And while the dollars are up a little bit more than 2 previous years, one claim makes up basically the difference in that law, or difference between last year and this year because of one claim that occurred, as you can see here, back in May. The Board of Education had a total of 13 claims. Total incurred dollars there were $11,750. County General had 9 claims, $20,200. And if you, as you see the last page, you report the breakdown of those 9 claims between the Sheriff Department, Ambulance Service, and Juvenile Detention.
Questions, Mr. Good?
Make a motion to approve the report as presented.
Got a motion? Got a second?
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
Just one thing, I'd like to remind everybody that we are in the middle of open enrollment. Open enrollment ends next Monday at noon. So we encourage everybody to get in and review your benefits and make sure you set up what you like for next year.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Good one.
Next Monday.
Good. Mr. Gregory.
For the month of September, we had 704 animals that entered into the shelter. You can see down at the bottom that we had a 71.9% adoption reclaim percentage and a 7.5% euthanasia rate. I think that may be the lowest that we've ever had. The live release rate for our dogs overall was 90.1%, cats were 89.5%, and overall, when you include the wildlife, was 89.2%, so we're very happy about that. We had 1,717 calls that came into the shelter, 1,741 that were completed, and we traveled 12,569 miles for the month. On our bite, rabies exposure and bite report, we had 36 bites that were reported. 2 of those animals were sent off for testing, none returned positive. And for other exposure, we had 5 cases that were reported. 2 of those were tested, no positives there as well.
Any questions? If not, we'll entertain a motion on the reports.
Make a motion to approve the reports as presented.
Second.
Motion is second. Further questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Some budget amendments.
Yes, sir. If you recall, I came to you a couple months ago and said we were going to be having issues with overtime due to FMLA and vacancies. We were able to pull $6,000 out that will be a stopgap measure from our attendant line item to our overtime that should push us into the month of December, hoping we'll get to the first of the year that way. And then the second one is to move some more money out of our part-time budget over to our vet services. We've already done this once this year. This is to pay for the veterinarian that we have coming in who wishes to be paid as a contract employee versus a part-time employee. And then the third amendment is, and this was with the mayor's approval, he said he could give his blessing to this. We have 2 part-time vet assistant positions. One of them we've had budgeted, gosh, probably since I would say maybe last April, if I was guessing. We've had the position that was filled for about 8 to 10 weeks. And that was here recently. So that position, we've interviewed multiple applicants, but can't get folks that will take it. What Dr. Dills has requested to do is to take those 2 part-time assistant positions and turn that into 1 full-time position. There's enough money due to the vacancy and enough money remaining out the year that we can do that within our part-time budget now. Both of those positions were budgeted at 25 hours a week. So if we move that one to the full-time at 40, we'll still have the other to cover the remaining benefits.
You're planning on keeping that throughout then, this year and in the future?
Yes, sir. With the number of surgeries that we are doing and the number of surgeries that we have waiting and need to be doing, we'll probably be talking next year of expanding some staff back there, probably to another full-time veterinarian. We're past that point. So this sets that up even more. The way that it works now with her part-time person, they come in at 7:30 and leave at 2:30. So at 2:30, when that employee leaves, it's just Doc and the technician. So everything kind of comes almost to a grinding halt because it's not as efficient as it can be. By having both of these folks there, they can keep feeding her animals for surgery and keep that pace up.
You've heard the request. Questions? So the new position's gonna cost what? With roughly 45 a year, something like that?
It was going to be, I think it was around 23 was the salary, and then the benefits on top of that. I think total it came out to around 33 something, if I recall.
You heard the request, I entertain a motion.
Do we do this as, take all the amendments as one, or do we need to do them separately?
Take them all.
It looks like it's all the same. It's 101-55120. It's all out of the same account.
Going on the same account?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, sir. It's just money within my budget. It's not asking for anything from a designated
Well,
bill.
I'll make the motion for the approval of this one.
Second.
Got a motion, a second. Any further questions?
I just want to say, you know, if you'll think back to where we were as a dog pound, and not that all that long ago, and you look at where we are now, it's amazing. It's just really amazing what we've accomplished here. And I think that's to be commended.
See the two young gentlemen back there, about when they were born. It was when we had made national news with
Yes,
our
yes.
drop boxes,
And,
didn't we? Yeah.
I think we said 2 young gentlemen.
And we said gentlemen also.
We've only been in our building since '04.
That's what I'm saying.
December of '04. So you're talking within the last 13 years,
13
going from
years.
Haley Road, and you all know what that was like,
Yeah.
to where we are now. So, yeah.
What you managed to do with the euthanasia.
It's a collective. It's collective.
And I'd recommend, if anybody hasn't been out there lately, to go out and see the exercise yards where you can take the animals out there and walk them and talk to them and meet them, or whatever you want to do. I mean,
Just
it's...
come see the lobby.
Yeah.
Come see
Yeah.
the lobby. I don't think y'all have seen that. The flow of it is so much better.
It's just really something to see and something to be proud of.
And anybody can come out and walk the dogs? Okay.
Any member of the public, they just have to sign the form. Of course, liability form, we have to be concerned with that, but yes, any member of the public can.
Okay.
The lobby, though, has been probably the biggest thing that we've done since we've been there, and the flow is so much better, so much better.
Any further questions? Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Nipper?
Yes.
Commissioner Piercy?
Yes.
Commissioner Reed?
Yes.
Commissioner Sorrento?
Yes.
Sereno?
Yes.
Commissioner Turner?
Yes.
Commissioner Schaefer?
Yes.
Thank you all.
Thanks.
I see. Our older gentleman is coming.
Distinguished gentlemen.
Got a new one online.
Yeah, we did.
It's good to have you back.
Thank you. Good to be back. You ready?
Ready.
We made 2,898 calls for the month of September. Average response time 7.5 minutes. As you can see, that's going down. And I think if we ever get all of our positions filled, it'll go down even more. That was a result of what we proposed to do and you all allowed us to do last year as far as adding additional ambulances. The number of coroner's calls went up significantly this month to 60. There were 23 autopsies that were done. We billed $1,554,431. Collected $631,454. Gives us projected yearly collections of $8,251,996, which would exceed our projection in the budget if we managed to hold on to that. We had insurance write-offs of $557,927, and collection agency write-offs of $226,317. We drove a total of 52,548 miles. Total maintenance cost was $20,152. Fuel cost was $16,939, which put the total operating cost of $37,091 or 71 cents per mile. Second page is simply a report of what our in-services and training, as well as our special teams at the ambulance service did for the month of September. The next page is a breakdown of what our sort team did. Their total calls. I've been putting this one in for the past several months. It's just something I want to bring to your attention as far as our sick time is concerned, because sick time directly relates to overtime. And, I know that you just heard Michael say that he had an issue with that. We're going to have an issue with it too if we continue at our present rate. So we'll just be following that from month to month. And that's pretty much it for the report.
Any questions for Mr. Nunley? Not, we'll entertain a motion on the report.
Make the motion to approve his report as presented.
Second.
Got a motion, a second. Further questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay.
How y'all doing this evening?
Good.
We have a report. October is usually a time when a lot of agencies request we do training with them, and some of the larger training chunks we did, we taught an instant command system for expanding events, which is called ICS 300. Primarily for Smyrna Fire, we taught it at our department. We followed that up on the 10th with instant command advanced for the same group of people. Both of them are a couple of days long. Most public safety require folks in leadership roles to have that training. We also taught a hazmat awareness for the sheriff's office as well as a suspicious substance sampling techniques course, primarily for Murfreesboro Fire, in preparation for the exercise we're actually doing right now. And I'll talk about that here in a minute. We hosted our, we do this about every 6 months, our local emergency planning committee meeting. We did that at Lane Agri Park last Wednesday. Had about 50 folks show up, had a good brief by the EMA director for Giles County about a fire and hazmat situation that they had to go through. Y'all may remember it from the news a few months ago, and talked about what they did down there. And we also had a brief by the 45th Civil Support Team, which is stationed there at Smyrna at the Volunteer Training Center. Speaking of them, right now as we speak, we're about probably 6 more hours. We started about 7 o'clock this morning. About 6 more hours we'll be involved in an exercise supporting the 45th CST for one of their training requirements. And when I say we, it's not just EMA out there on Lascassas Pike at this point. There's also SORT, there's also County Fire, Sheriff's Office, and it all started this morning in Murfreesboro. It's at 2 different sites. We were on January Street this morning, where Murfreesboro Fire, to include their hazmat teams, and PD as well as SO, helped us with that part of it as well. We're not just giving them a good training environment, we're also getting training out for our hazmat teams at the city as well as the county along with that. So it's not just a one-sided equation here. We're getting a lot out of it as well. Plus, we get the opportunity to work with them and a lot of their really neat stuff that they have. Upcoming events, of course, we're going to be involved with Saturday, just like other public safety. Got a few meetings coming up. We're going to be meeting with NHC to help them plan an exercise. A couple of classes coming up, and we have a PIO group meeting on the 20th of November. Subject to any questions y'all might have, that concludes my report.
Can you elaborate any at all on what you're doing on the Lascassas Pike?
Yes, well, the scenario is roughly that it started in Murfreesboro, where it started off as a law enforcement thing, where they said they found some chemicals as well as possibly some radiated materials. And that would necessitate not just calling our hazmat teams, but at a certain point we call the state and get the 45th involved. Well, the way they built the scenario is they had a witness there, not a witness, but the bad guy. And they questioned him, and he told them at a storage facility on Lascassas Pike, which is one next to Dollar General, is where there was more stuff. That's what led them to go out there, and that's where they are right now. And they're doing all that testing and all that time-consuming stuff.
I've been asked that many times today.
We actually,
I asked you.
we put it out on social media, all the PIOs. We sent out press releases on the 13th as well as the 20th to let people know what we were doing, and also again this morning. So we've been putting it out there, but of course you never hit everybody.
Didn't get your social media.
You should put it on Famous Lascassas.
Yeah.
Actually, I saw that one. And actually, one of the firemen on the scene saw it and immediately said, it's an exercise, we've been planning it for months. But yes, we saw the one at Famous Lascassas.
They will blow it up.
Yeah.
Well, I ended up right in the middle of it on January Street this
Yes,
morning.
you
I was coming into the planning commission meeting, and I thought, well, I'm going to be here a while.
Not a lot of room over there anymore. We got them to at least leave one building up for this, so that's not why they left it up, but it hadn't worked out that way.
It's an opportunity for the SORT and our hazmat guys to train with the best in the country. They have a rolling laboratory that's probably multi-million dollars. And to be able to have that exercise and work with them benefits all of us.
Sure.
And it's a great asset. It's sitting in our backyard, and they're always willing to train with us.
Further questions for Mr. Cass?
Make a motion to approve his report as presented.
Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? McGrady? Hopefully it won't last much longer.
Well, they should have stopped at Smoky's Market at 6 this morning for the coffee club. And it would have been
It'd have been all over everybody.
Oh, yeah, that would take care of it. Evidently, none of them stopped, did they? We've already.
The first top sheet is just a year-to-date report on Rutherford County Fire Rescue. For the year, we've had 64 structure fires. We've run 2,095 medical calls. We've had 316 motor vehicle accidents with injuries. We've had 250 motor vehicle accidents without injuries. And we've had 31 extrications for a total of 4,133 calls for the year. Just for the month of September, we've had 7 structure fires. We had 250 medical calls and 41 motor vehicle accidents with injuries, 31 motor vehicle accidents without injuries, and a total of 5 extrications, for a total for the month of September 523 calls. Next sheet shows the totals of the volunteers, their run volume, and also their training hours and water usage. We've had a total of 729 MVAs across county this year. This also includes what sort runs and does their part of rescue that helps cover the county. The next sheet is the damage report that we turn into the county codes, reporting damaged structures by fire. And then the last sheet, of course, is the fire investigation unit report. And that concludes my report, unless there's any questions.
We're now into permit requirement time, aren't we?
October
For burning?
15th, yeah, October 15th, you have to have a burn permit with the state of Tennessee Forestry. And you can call our office and get that number, or just look on, you can also get those permits online, you can apply for them online.
That's
I think-
May 15th.
Yeah, I sent a text out to all the county chiefs Saturday. We had a report of 250 permits issued last Saturday. Of course, you remember it was a little windy. So, but I didn't hear any, everybody must have been careful because we didn't have, we had 1 or 2 calls, but nothing major.
I know they must get tired of me getting, when I wife around, we must get 20 of them a year, a burn permit, but we don't use them all because you get it when you think, hey, I got enough time, I can get done in these 3 days. And then it rains or it's windy or something like that, you don't get them done.
Well, a lot of times on Saturday, they issue them on Friday. And if you get up Saturday, you got a lot of wind.
Yeah.
If they burn, it gets out of hand. Well, I got a permit, so.
Yeah.
It never gets windy till I light the fire.
Yeah.
You ever notice you light a big brush pile, it will draw wind to it?
Y'all need to start charging Schaefer, that's way too many.
How many acres does he have?
That is like you live in the city.
And these are little brush fires. But, you know, brush fires out around the garden and all, cleaning up, getting the stuff out, and it's too small to go in the, for when to take off, this type thing.
Well, since you've asked that, not contrary to popular belief, you have a lot of people that have little chimeneas and stuff in their backyard, and a small fire for like when you roast stuff is called a recreational fire. Fire code classifies that as a recreational fire. As long as it's 25 foot from a structure, you don't have to have a permit or something like that.
What about the fire pits?
You don't have to have a permit for that. But the main thing is never leave a fire unattended.
Okay. Okay, we don't have a motion, do we?
I think you got that.
Motion to approve the report is presented.
Got a motion, we need a second. And a second. Further questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thanks, sir.
Have a good one. Save the best for last.
Good evening. I will try to be brief on our yearly activity report. Probably the most interesting thing is that I have already received, it's on my desk, I haven't turned it in and I didn't take it off our totals, but I already received Coffee County, Franklin County, and Wilson County's checks. So as I usually say, just about the time that the public safety is over, we go ahead and get the checks the next day or two. So that's not anything that we're concerned about, but those are on my desk. I do have a budget amendment tonight, and I also included our Parent Connections information for you. Our parenting classes are going to be starting back up. They do it every, probably once a quarter. The next classes begin November 2nd. So if anyone is interested in signing up for the parenting classes, there's a team component. They can call Garland Henley at our main number, 615-898-7954.
Any questions on the report? If not, we'll entertain a motion.
There's a move to approve the report.
A motion, we need a second.
Second.
Questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Okay, so we're on the budget amendment. This is not new money. This is from within our budget. And I'd like to move 6838 from one of our line items into an equipment line item. What we're going to be doing, if it's approved, is getting 4 semi-rugged laptops. We currently have 3 that we have been using for several years. These laptops run 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They're used in our housing unit for our officers who are using our jail management system on the laptops. And I've always got one in OIT, and I think they've put as many Band-Aids on them as they possibly can. The money is available in our data processing line item because we no longer need the maintenance fees for GSA that the clerk's office is not using anymore. So.
You've heard the request.
Make a motion to approve the request as presented.
Motion. The laptops. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second. Okay. Questions? Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Nipper,
Yes.
Commissioner Piercy,
Yes.
Commissioner Reed,
Yes.
Commissioner Serrano,
Yes.
Commissioner Turner,
Yes.
Commissioner Schaefer.
Yes.
Okay, that's all I have.
That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And what, we have Halloween coming up, right? Probably every town's got something going on in it. Howl at the Moon, truckers, trunk or treat, all these things, everything. So what I'm saying is keep your eyes out for the kids. Try to go. Plus, the day before Halloween is the day well worth remembering.
Your birthday?
I hit my 70th decade.
Yes. Got one tomorrow.
We're adjourned. Anybody else have anything?